Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute since I've done a hobby video on this channel, but honestly there wasn't a lot going on in my hobby worlds. For those of you that watch me for Cardfight Vanguard, I'm sorry, not much has really gone on. Set 3 did just drop, so be on the lookout. I will be doing a new Eugene deck profile once I start testing all the new support. I'm really excited to try it out. But we are here for some Yu-Gi-Oh! And I have been hard at work making some new decks. And a buddy of mine needed help with a deck. It's his favorite deck, and he wanted to be able to use it to try and compete with the meta a little bit. And I've made something kind of cool. We have been working on Blue Eyes White Dragon. This deck is wild, and we've come up with a build that stresses pluses and can beat through almost anything. This is the build we're working with right here. It's a lot of fun. You'll notice it has a very low amount of hand traps, but with the way the deck plays, you guys will understand. I have some footage of some games that we record so you can see some of the cool stuff that the deck can do, going first and second. If you guys have any questions about any of the text you see, let me know in the comments. If you guys just enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. But let's jump in and check out the gameplay. Alright, up first is a match, the best 2 out of 3, where we played against Prank Kids. Now, I didn't know at first what my opponent was playing because we kind of went nuts on him. We actually opened up pretty broken. In this case, he looks like he bricked. Because all he does is summon this one monster and link it into Link Rebo. But if you look at our hand, for one, for anybody that doesn't know that card on the far left, that is Piercing the Darkness. This is it's supposed to be a Blue Eyes / Dark Magician support card, but it ends up being a generic normal monster support card. If you normal or special summon a normal monster, you get to draw a card once per turn. And then if you have a normal monster that's level 5 or higher that is involved in a battle, either between your opponent's monster or a ritual, fusion, synchro, XYZ that was made with a level 5 or higher normal monster battling your opponent's monster, it basically gives it a once per turn honest effect. It's pretty bonkers. So we started with Bingo Machine Go. Now I was going to go for 3 True Lights, but then I looked at my hand and I was just like, you know what? I have a better idea. I ended up going for 3 alternatives, and that was definitely the better choice because we were able to combo out pretty cool. So we started with Piercing the Darkness because we want to be able to get that draw. We use alternatives effects, revealing a Blue Eyes, special summon alternative. And then we summon Whitestone of the Ancients. Now here was a slight misplay. I should have used alternative to destroy Link Rebo. That would have resulted in me getting more damage. That was my bad. I was kind of caught up in the combo moment. But we link into Halqifibrax. So now we have a Blue Eyes in the grave and we have Whitestone set up. Halqifibrax is going to grab us a tuner from the deck. In this case, we're going to grab Whitestone of the Ancients. We're going to link Whitestone of the Ancients for our own Link Rebo, which is going to trigger Whitestone of the Ancients and add a Blue Eyes name. Next up, we've got Nebula Dragon. Nebula Dragon lets us summon a level 8 no monster. Level 8 dragon, sorry. But for the rest of the turn, we're only able to summon light and dark dragon monsters. Pierce the Darkness goes off, allowing us to draw a card because we're supposed to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. And we go into Hope Harbinger for our spell card negate. Go into battle phase. As again, if I had done that, we would have been able to attack directly. It would have been, we actually lose on 3 grand worth of damage, which is my bad. Now right here, see Piercing is asking me to Piercing the Darkness if I want to activate it. That's the honest effect I was talking about. Hope Harbinger was made with Blue Eyes, so since I made Hope Harbinger with a level 5 or higher normal monster, I can actually absorb the attack points of the monster it's about to battle. I chose not to because I know he was just going to use Link Rebo's effect. And then I just swing with Hulk, swing with Link Rebo. Go to main phase 2, make sure everything's good. End phase. My Whitestone of the Ancients that we had linked with earlier now lets me summon this thing. So this is Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. this card is bonkers. So, for anybody that doesn't know what this card does, because I didn't know what this card did. It has 2 effects. In order to activate them, you need to have, 3 effects. You need to have a Blue Eyes White Dragon already in the grave. If you remember, we have alternative, which is treated as Blue Eyes while in the graveyard. When this card is special summoned, you can add either a ritual spell card or polymerization from your deck to your hand. Since we already have Chaos Form in hand, we end up grabbing polymerization. Then at the end phase, you can add a level 8 or higher Dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. Because we're already in the end phase, we also get to add the dragon. In this case, we're going to add Chaos Max since we have Chaos Form. And its other effect is while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to give all level 8 or higher dragon monsters plus 1000 for the turn. So it's really good for pushing. This card literally just became a +3. Because we got the special summon off of the White Stone, and now we're going to add 2 more cards to hand. Grab the Chaos Max. Now, here's why our field looks crazy. At the start of his main phase, as soon as he summons the monster, we're going to actually chain Huck Fireworks. This is kind of my fault. I kind of made a mistake here. I want to do it at the start of his main phase, but the chaining in Nexus is weird. We end up chaining it to the summon of his Linkuriboh, or the effect of Linkuriboh, to tag out Huck Fireworks for Formula Synchron, so we kind of lose out on the draw, because it misses timing. But then we use Formula Synchron plus the Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, which is now useless, to synchro into Baron during my opponent's turn, because Baron is silly. So now we have a Spell Negate, which we now use because my opponent tried to Mystic Mine us. I saw that and I was like, thank God I have this. Plus we still have Baron's Army Negate. And we're also protected from battle since we have Linkuriboh. On top of 5 more cards in hand, and now 6. First thing I do is White Stone the Ancients specifically. I was basically going to banish it to add alternative from the grave back to hand and then a special summon back out. But this is where my opponent actually surrenders. So, like I said, we kind of dominated that. We didn't really get to see what my opponent was doing, but I wanted to keep that video in there so you can see just the kind of crazy board state that this deck can easily make. Now, game 2, we don't side because we don't have a side deck yet, and our opponent goes first again. Our hand this time is very, very mediocre, but you can still see, watch once we start playing, the kind of crazy stuff it can do. So, I'm going to talk through this part because I have no idea what happened. I actually wasn't really paying much attention because I don't know squat about Prank Kids, and I had no way to really stop any of his abilities. The reason I chose not to use Effect Veiler as an interruption throughout this entire process is because I wanted to wait, see what he was going to make, and try to get through it. Like, I was challenging myself. One of the tech cards that you guys can actually see right now in my hand is the Tenui Field Spell. For anybody that doesn't know what it does, it's perfect for this deck because we abuse a normal monster. In order to use it, you have to have it obviously active, but you have to have a normal monster face up on your side of the field, non-effect monster specifically, or a face-down defense position monster. It makes those monsters unaffected by monster effects, and while you can control either or, if your opponent summons an effect monster, you have to draw 2 cards once per turn. So, like Piercing the Darkness, it's just another way to draw more cards. He's just going nuts in the combo. And I just let him do whatever he wants. The deck doesn't really run a whole lot of hand traps because of the other effects that it has. It uses True Light to keep on recurring Blue Eyes, so even if your Blue Eyes gets killed, you just bring it right back. It also uses cards like Ultimate Creature of Destruction to make your cards unaffected by card effects and turns them into removal cards. We actually play Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, and we play Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. While Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, geez, that's a mouthful. While that's a little bit harder to summon, if you get it out, can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, and it can pop 3 cards a turn. Twin Burst can't be destroyed in battle, and if it battles a monster that doesn't, and the monster isn't actually destroyed, it straight banishes it. Doesn't target. It actually dodges a lot of protection abilities. Well, it's just another way to help get rid of cards. We'll actually have a really cool example of that later in this video. Alright, my opponent's almost done, because this is where he starts getting ready to make his fusion. He already has the Link Monster. I didn't know what the Link Monster did, but it has a quick effect to basically destroy all my spell and trap cards. Thankfully, I don't play a whole lot in this turn. I'm just like, go ahead. Alright, we go. I think the next thing he plays is the fusion spell. Yeah, there it is. But yeah, Effect Veiler is also searchable in this deck because of Sage. Sage can grab you any spellcaster tuner. I'm sorry, any level 1 tuner. The only card in this deck I'm a little iffy about, but it is still a good card, is Sage. Because by itself, you can't really do much with Sage. But if you open up Sage and an alternative, you have a whole plethora of plays. Alright, here we go. Our hand is very, very mid. There's not really much we can do here. So, we're going to summon Whitestone the Ancients, because we want to get that special summon. I was contemplating summoning Sage to get the search, but I have no way of doing anything else. I would literally summon Sage, link him into something, and pass turn. At least with Whitestone the Ancients, we get a special summon at the end of turn. So, my opponent didn't pop my monster yet, so we link him off. I was going to link him off into Link Karibo until I realized that the Prank Kids monster has an arrow pointing down. Once I realized that, I'm like, cool, we're going to Anima. Anima's going to absorb his monster. Again, my opponent didn't actually pop my monster until I actually absorbed his monster. So, we actually were able to get rid of that problem. Now we activate Flawless Protection of the Tenui, and we just go to end phase. At the end of turn, our Whitestone the Ancients goes off, giving us Blue Eyes from the deck. I went for Blue Eyes here because going for Abyss would be stupid. We didn't have a Blue Eyes in the graveyard, so none of his effects would work. And he need a 25 where we're staring down a 3k beater. Oh, also, Flawless Protection of the Tenui only works because we have a non-effect monster on the board. So if he summons an effect monster, we get to draw 2 cards. Now he has 2 cards in hand plus a 3k beast stick. He switches the monster to attack mode. I wasn't sure why at first, but I ended up going over the effect. It turns out it has this card in your possession is sent to the grave by your opponent's card. You can target 1 non-fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. That's what he was going for. So he sets a monster in defense mode so that way I don't get the draw. But at the end of his main phase, I actually use Effect Veiler on his monster. So if he wants to swing into my Blue Eyes, that's fine. We're both going to lose our monsters, but he's not getting anything off of it now. He ends up tributing it, which would have destroyed all my monsters, but because of Flawless Protection of the Tenui, it's unaffected by monster effects. And that's why my opponent surrenders. He had no way to get around just that one Blue Eyes. Now, that was the end of that match. The next one is a single game where we actually play against Eldritch, and it was such a back and forth game, I definitely wanted to show it to you guys. So let's go on to the next game. And that last game, I know we basically did almost nothing in it, but it just worked out that the protection from Tenui made him a beast like that. In this game, we actually got to go first this time. We start off with Bingo Machine, and we just picked 3 True Lights to make sure we get True Light. We used Melody of the Awakening. We ditched the Blue Eyes Abyss. Blue Eyes Abyss is probably the biggest brick in the deck. It's a great card, but you don't want to see it in your opening hand. This deck doesn't have a way to summon that specific card from hand or from graveyard because it's not considered Blue Eyes White Dragon. So we just use it for Melody to get us our alternative and a Blue Eyes. Reveal Blue Eyes, special summon alternative, normal summon the Effect Veiler, and we link it to Hulk of Fireworks. And now we're going for our setup. We use Hulk Surge Whitestone the Ancients, summon Whitestone the Ancients, link Whitestone the Ancients into a Linkuriboh. Bam, we're set. We set the True Light to start abusing the True Light because that card is bonkers. And turn, special summon Blue Eyes from the deck. Now you're gonna see here me trying to mess with the chaining, trying to switch it to manual. I tried to do that so way again at the start of the main phase I could have tagged out Halka Rex for Formula Synchron to get the draw, but I don't know if I didn't get there fast enough or what, but it just didn't work out that way. So we changed to whatever he was doing. He was trying to use this monster. I forget this monster's name. It's the one that, it's the new card that protects back row. But we ended up chaining it to his effects. We summoned Formula Synchron, and then we synchro into Baron once again. The design for this deck is pretty cool because if you're going first, you have the Baron play. If you're going second, we actually made it really, really easy to go into Access Code Talker because off of any tuner plus an alternative, you go on a Hulk gets you one of the spellcaster tuner monsters. You can go into Selene. As long as you have at least 3 spell cards, you get your 3 counters. Move the 3 counters, bring back the spellcaster you just used, and then you can go right into Access Code Talker. Great way to start clearing off the board. Unizombie. As soon as I saw Unizombie, I knew Unizombie can set off so many things, so we decided to actually use Baron's Negate to negate and destroy it. Now you're gonna see throughout this turn that I try to avoid using the True Light until the last second, just because I don't want my opponent to go and pop it, when in reality I want to save that card. My opponent, if I activate it, my opponent pops it, I lose my board. I'm trying to avoid that, so he decides to use Outlich on my Baron, which is okay, that's fine with me. Baron did his thing already. Another problem I have with Nexus is cards like this, where he gets to set a trap card from the deck, we don't get to see what the trap card is. That always bothered me. Now he gets rid of the trap card, brings back Golden Lord. It's got big boy attack power. He sets, and he goes to battle phase and swings. Once he swings, we use Linkuriboh. We take no damage this turn. In phase 2, and on his end phase, we activate the True Light at the same time that he uses Hikuero to set a spell card. Now, here, I decided to go with protection rather than summoning a monster because the Ultimate Creature of Destruction is bonkers. It is a trap card that makes a Blue Eyes monster completely unaffected by everything, and it turns it into a removal card. But I want it to be live as fast as possible, so as soon as we went to end phase, I wanted to set this card so as soon as my turn starts, it's ready to go. I could have grabbed something like Destined Rivals to have a full board negate, but this definitely would have been a lot stronger with what I was going for. And if I use it and summon a Blue Eyes, it can reset itself. It's just a all-around good card. So we special summon the alternative. I was looking at my graveyard to see if there's something I wanted to special summon, or if I wanted to use Whitestone the Ancients to add something back to hand. He activates Conquistador. Pops my alternative. I'm butthurt. He also goes to summon a card from his hand because he activated a trap card. I use True Light to bring back my alternative. Now, I could have saved the True Light to set a spell or trap card or to summon a Blue Eyes and added the alternative deck with Whitestone the Ancients, but it turns out that alternative can only be summoned once from the hand by its effect once per turn. So because I already summoned it, even if I added it back, I couldn't summon it. So it was better to use True Light. Still have my Ultimate Creature Destruction in case he tries to do anything funny. Though I did make a misplay. You guys should see it when he activates the Conquistador. I went to go activate Ultimate Creature Destruction and then hit no. If I had chained Ultimate Creature of Destruction, I would have been able to save my monster and use True Light to summon another monster, in which case Ultimate Creature of Destruction would have been able to reset itself. That was a misplan on my part. So we have Abyss's effect if you want to pump up our attack points. We can add a card back with Ancient. What I decided to end up doing is I just ended up swinging into Conquistador and just going for damage. So we just go to battle phase. He activates one of his set cards. It's Elixir of Sanguine. Summon a zombie monster from the deck. Banshee. I was gonna swing at Banshee, but I was like, what's the point? He'll just Banshee from graveyard to grab Zombie World anyway. So I just went for damage. That's 25 to the face. Main phase 2. Again, we already used the True Light. We have our trap set. We don't need to add anything. We just pass the rest of the turn. And this is where stuff starts to get a little crazy. So he ends up playing Zombie World from his hand. Doesn't use Banshee. Uses the Elixir in his grave to play a Golden Land spell from the deck. And he plays the new Fusion spell. That's it. Activates it. Now, I didn't know about this thing's second effect. I only thought it was just a Fusion card. So I kind of had to figure it out as I went. Summons Mizuki. Now, this was a little weird. He goes to battle phase and then passes to main phase and then activates the Fusion spell, using his level 10 monster with Eldritch to make the Eldritch Fusion, which then triggers it to make it so I can't activate my set card. I, on instinct, just activated it, thinking that it was going to get destroyed. Not that I just can't activate it for the rest of the turn. But I gave my blue as the protection. And then I use True Light to set another card. In this case, we grab Chaos Form because we already have Chaos Max in hand. So we want to be able to use Chaos Max next turn. The fact that you can grab Chaos Form basically at any time is dope. He links in the, how do I say that? Galante Granite to research another copy of the hand trap monster. Not really a hand trap, but you know what I mean. He uses Conquistador's engraving effect to set a spell from the deck. Alright, and this is where we get to go off a little bit. So we start off by making a misplay. Now this is my first time playing against the Eldritch Fusion, so I didn't realize it couldn't be destroyed by card effects until after I read it. Too bad I read it a little too late. We ended up using White Stone to add back alternative. And then we special summon alternative by revealing Blue Eyes in our hand. We also, right here, we set, because alternative is treated as Blue Eyes on field and in graveyard, Blue Eyes White Dragon, we're able to reset Ultimate Creature of Destruction. But the next time we use it, it vanishes itself. We use our second alternative to pop his other monster. And now, I love that Twin Burst can do this, but you can contact fuse Twin Burst with 2 Blue Eyes on the field, or you can use Pulverization to make it. It's a really, really flexible card. Because neither of the alternatives can attack, I traded them out for Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. Now we end up using Nebula Dragon, summon Blue Eyes. And then we go into Hope Harbinger. For anybody that doesn't know, when you do that with Nebula Dragon locks you into light and dark dragons for the rest of the turn. I found out the hard way. We activate Chaos Max. He activates Elixir. He grabs Battle Drum from the deck. And we banish a Blue Eyes from the grave to summon out Chaos Max. Now, because a zombie was summoned, he goes to activate his fusion spell on our back row, so we can't activate, even though we can't activate this turn. But I also wanted to get that off the board, so I decided to use Hope Harbinger to negate it, because it would then attach it to Hope Harbinger. Kind of a misplay, kind of not. He ends up using Battle Dragon's effect in response to me using a zombie effect, and he decides to banish Chaos Max. That was kind of my fault. Otherwise, we would have had game on board. But he also loses his fusion spell. The way I make a misplay here, I'm thinking I still have True Light to summon a monster from the graveyard. I made a little bit of a mistake. We'll get there in a second. I go to battle phase. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, Twin Burst can make 2 attacks as long as they're on specifically monsters. It can't attack directly. It can attack directly, just not twice. So we swing at the battle drop. We take that out first. He dies. My opponent takes 200. We swing at Golden Lord. Here's why. Twin Burst cannot be destroyed by battle. Neither can Golden Lord. Golden Lord can't be destroyed by effects. Twin Burst has an effect where after it battles, if the monster it battled was not destroyed, it is banished instead. So we take 800 damage, and we just tell Golden Lord to get the F out of here. It was a beautiful way to get rid of that. Doesn't target. It's a fantastic out for so many things. I'm swinging at him with Hope Harbinger for 3k, and this is where I go to activate the True Light. I thought I could get a monster. I was kind of upset that I couldn't, and I couldn't figure it out why at first, but it's because of Zombie World. So we were locked into Light and Dark Dragons by our Nebula Dragon. So even though we had Blue Eyes in the graveyard, we couldn't summon it because it was technically a light zombie monster. That was my bad. So instead, we set the Destined Rivals. Remember, there's no Destined Rivals says if you control Blue Eyes, White Dragon, or Dark Magician, it negates the effect of all effect monsters on the board. It's a pretty cool card, and it's searchable by True Light. And I believe this is getting pretty close to the end. Because he summons Battle Drop, sets a back row. It's a spell card, plays a card from his hand. He goes to Mizuki for Golden Lord, and I'm guessing he realizes he has no outs to my board because I can still swing at 2 of his monsters and swing at his life points, and he actually ends up leaving the duel. That is the end of those games, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I was really inspired to work on this deck. It's a lot of fun. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of what it can do. It can brick, but it's Blue Eyes. It happens. Anyway, let me know any decks you guys think I should try out. Let me know any of the decks you want to see me work with. I have a brand new Cyber Dragon build that I've recently finished that I will be showing off next weekend. Make sure you guys come by for that. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. That's it for me. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Later. I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I'll make mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning.